The arena fell silent as two legends stepped into the octagon that night in Bangkok. Under the blazing lights of Impact Arena, 60,000 fight fans held their collective breath, knowing they were about to witness something extraordinary. On one side stood Jackie Chan, the 69-year-old master whose acrobatic brilliance had redefined martial arts cinema. Across from him, Michael Jai White, the imposing 6'1" powerhouse whose technical precision had earned him 7 black belts across multiple disciplines. The question that had burned through martial arts communities for decades was finally getting answered. Chan bounced lightly on his feet, that familiar mischievous grin playing across his weathered features. Despite his age, his movements carried the fluid grace that had made him a global icon. His training camp footage from the preceding months showed a man defying time itself, moving with the same cat-like reflexes that once made him leap between skyscrapers. The Hong Kong legend had spent 4 decades perfecting his blend of kung fu, comedy, and controlled chaos. But age brings wisdom, and Chan's greatest weapon wasn't his fading speed, it was his ring intelligence. He'd studied White's fights obsessively, noting how the American's orthodox stance left subtle openings for unorthodox attacks. Chan's strategy was clear: use movement, angles, and his environment to neutralize White's devastating power advantage. Preparation told a different story. At 55, he possessed the kind of explosive strength that could end fights in seconds. His background as a legitimate martial artist, not just a movie star who learned to fight, showed in every calculated step. 7 authentic black belts don't lie. His Kyokushin karate base gave him bone-crushing kicks, while his boxing training added precision to power that could shatter concrete. The psychological warfare had been fascinating to observe. White carried himself with the quiet confidence of a man who never lost a real fight. His camp had leaked sparring footage showing him destroying heavy bags with single shots. The message was clear. This wouldn't be a movie fight with choreographed sequences. This was going to be brutal and brief. Round 1 opened with Chan immediately establishing his movement pattern, circling clockwise while White stalked forward like a predator. The size difference was stark. White's muscular frame dwarfed Chan's compact build, but within 30 seconds, Chan demonstrated why size isn't everything, slipping under a thunderous right hook and landing a sharp elbow to White's ribs. The crowd erupted as White absorbed the shot without flinching, immediately countering with a leg kick that echoed through the arena. Chan's face tightened. He'd felt that power. White pressed forward, throwing combinations that whistled past Chan's head as the smaller man ducked and weaved like a leaf in a hurricane. By round 2, White had found his range. A perfectly timed uppercut caught Chan flush, sending him stumbling backward. Blood trickled from Chan's nose, but instead of backing down, he smiled. That smile should have been White's warning. Chan suddenly shifted tactics, using the cage walls to launch himself into a spinning back kick that caught White completely off guard. The momentum swung wildly through rounds 3 and 4. White's power shots were taking their toll. Chan's left eye was swelling, and he favored his right leg after absorbing several brutal kicks. But Chan's adaptability was legendary for a reason. He began mixing in grappling attempts, neutralizing White's striking by forcing clinch situations where his lower center of gravity became an advantage. Round 5 brought the turning point that changed everything. White, confident in his dominance, loaded up on a haymaker that would have ended most fights. Chan saw it coming from a mile away, ducked completely under it, and as White spun with his own momentum, Chan grabbed his opponent's wrist and used White's forward energy against him, sending the larger man crashing into the cage wall. The arena exploded. In that moment, 40 years of Jackie Chan's philosophy crystallized. Use your opponent's strength against them. White was hurt, really hurt for the first time, and Chan sensed blood in the water. The final rounds transformed into a masterclass in ring generalship versus raw power. White, now cautious after his mistake, couldn't find clean shots against Chan's improved defensive positioning. Chan, energized by his success, began landing combinations that individually didn't hurt but collectively accumulated damage. With 30 seconds left in the final round, White made one last desperate surge, throwing everything he had at Chan. But the Hong Kong legend had saved his best for last. As White committed to a final combination, Chan timed a perfect counter, a jumping knee that caught White clean on the jaw. The impact sent White crashing to the canvas, unconscious before he hit the ground. Jackie Chan had done the impossible. At 69 years old, he defeated one of the world's most feared martial artists through pure ring intelligence and tactical brilliance. The victory wasn't about power or youth. It was about 40 years of experience distilled into 5 perfect rounds. White had brought superior strength, technical skill, and physical advantages. But Chan brought something immeasurable, the wisdom to turn those advantages into liabilities. In defeating Michael Jai White, Jackie Chan proved that in martial arts, the mind remains the ultimate weapon, regardless of age.